pianist began 10 years ago. Since then, she has gained international fame. She has played with the major orchestras of the United States, Europe, Canada, and South America. Arthur Fiedler invited her on 5 occasions to be guest soloist with the Boston Pops. She has also performed with conductors Sergio Commissiona, Hans Vonk, Edo de Waard, Eduardo Mata, and David Zinman. In 1981, she won a Gold Record Award from Phonograph International of Holland for her recording of the Haydn D Major and the Mozart K246 Concerti with the Rotterdam Philharmonic. Ana Maria Vera is now 16, at the pinnacle of her career. Ana Maria tells us her story.
I was born in Washington, D.C. My father is Bolivian, my mother is Dutch, and I basically grew up in a very international environment, not an American environment, not a Dutch or Bolivian, but simply international. I got exposed to many things at an early age, the most important of them being the arts in general and music. Told me that when my mother was pregnant with me, they would play music, and I was born with music practically, and it being very natural as well as being something very important. My parents realized my interest for music especially, and they encouraged it very much. I remember when I was very young, them playing music for me as I went to sleep, and I would be able to distinguish the different composers. And that's when they began to realize that I had a special interest in music, or perhaps a special ability. And so when I was 3 years old, my father surprised us with a piano. And it was basically for my mother to begin playing again. She hadn't played for many, many years. And she wanted to begin again. And as she started to practice, from what they tell me, I began to take over the piano. I began to imitate what she did by ear. And then she began teaching me what she knew, by ear, basically, at first. This is when I was 3 years old. And my father would bring books from the library to teach me as much as they could. And when I was 4 or 5 years old, then they decided to turn me over to a professional teacher. And her name was Hilda Novik. And she had a great influence over me, and she was a wonderful teacher. And when I was 5 or 6, I started entering small competitions, and when I began winning prizes at age 8, I started to perform publicly. With the first time being Pan American Union, and then later on in Europe, and that's when it all began.
few children of her age play as well as she does. I mean, that's the particular attraction, that she is young and plays so well. And she plays well at any age. And I never have any fears about her, and she does neither.
The responsibility started when she started concertizing. All the people outside, you know, like would maybe try to push her, but it was not really a push. It was fun for me, for the whole family. It's just the way, it depends how you handle it. As long as the child is not happy about performing, if she has fun at it, I think it's great.
I was about to play, and then all of a sudden everybody stood up, and I realized that the president had just walked in. But he apparently took time to come and listen to me. And when I played for him, he had actually cried as I was playing. He told me that day that I was his favorite pianist that day. I just remember this very vaguely. I was about 11 years old at the time. I've always had a very close relationship with my family, and they, up till now, really have been the only people I could really say I cared for. And really felt an emotional tie with as personal people, because they were the only people in my life, and they still are, basically. I'm just lately been starting to step out into the world of personal relationships with people. Actually, I never thought of myself as, or I never think of myself as a teenager. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the word, but I don't think of myself as a child, yet it seems very close. That I seem very close to being a child. I feel that way. And then other times I feel like I'm very, very old. When I'm playing one piece, no matter by who it is, and I'm really enjoying it, for me at that moment it's the most beautiful piece in the world. And the same goes for every piece I play and understand and feel. Lately, I've been examining the dark side of composers, the dark side of authors, and kind of what is hinted at, what really is between the lines, and what amount of feeling, and not just feeling but of suffering, which is also a feeling that I know must come into music and the arts very, very much, because the capability of joy is also so intense that the capability of suffering is just as much there. I personally could not live without interpreting and expressing myself, whether it is playing the piano or listening to it or involving myself doing it. And it happens to be right now, at this moment, the basic way that I interpret myself. It's a wonderful way to communicate with people without using words. It's better than words. It expresses things that words could never express.
I knew her from school, and then we met at one party when she attacked me. I was reading a magazine And I was mad because she had her arm around another guy because she had, I guess, had a few drinks. And so I was reading this magazine because I was really jealous because I liked her. And then, I don't know, she put her arm around me and just...
That's true.
She doesn't like cleaning up her room because she thinks it's a waste of time. And she thinks lots of things are a waste of time. Like, her mother would ask her to clean up or something and she'd say, no, it's a waste of time. And then she'd go off and read her 17 magazine.
No.
Yes.
I'm sure. Well, I'd go, a lot of the time, people think I'm wasting time. But what I'm really doing is, I need that time to just sit, and whatever it is, I could be daydreaming, I could be relaxing my mind or my body or whatever. I don't think it has to be all, your life has to be action-packed in the physical sense.
No, she was always the type of person who was very quiet. This is from what I heard. I've only been at school a while. She was very quiet and very much to herself. And then when she went off to Holland and came back, she totally changed and she was really wild and she, I don't know, disrupted classes.
I kind of all of a sudden let loose. It was like everything had just been totally taken away from me. And when I got back, it was still like that. I had gone through a lot of things that I hadn't before. And that's when I was starting to think. I was about 12 or 13. I was really starting to think about myself and my family and my life. And then since then it's been a series of all sorts of different moods and things. And now I could still say that I'm very much the same quiet introvert that I always was. I tend to pull into myself a lot. I let go, I think, most when I'm at the piano. It's like a new experience. No matter how many times I might have played that piece before, it's like a new experience. And you just keep learning more from it. It's like reading a book over and over again. You keep getting more out of it and picking things up you never saw before. Experience does affect what you actually see when you're playing. You start to understand things more as you grow. You start to understand what a certain mood or a certain phrase even will mean. You have to really live the music. You have to forget yourself and let your fingers do the work and let your mind roam. I feel like I have a greater capability to feel happy than many people, as well as a greater capability to suffer. And I think that what I would be striving for, or one of the many things I'd be striving for, is to have and keep getting a greater capability to be happy and to suffer in anything I do.
Met Anna Maria Vera. Oh, Mr. Shikandaka.
Nice to meet you. Pleasure to hear you.
Very beautiful. Wonderful. Other things you feel comfortable? Okay, Anna. Looking forward to the ride. Thank you.
When I go out there, it's like I'm on a high or something. Oh, you can't even put it into words what your mind does. You search and then you find images either that have happened or have never happened or will probably never happen, but they happen in your mind and they happen in the music, and that's what counts. He is alone, feels weak. People are sponges made of stone, no absorption, no tasty juices. His mind walks around, feeling like a ghost with no past. He sees no light, for it is covered. His strength is too far gone to look for it. Still, he searches quietly, looking for a crack in the moon. He takes off his jacket, doesn't know what's wrong with being cold. Looking down at his small physical existence, he sees nothing. Still, he feels a surge of unexplained joy, a surge of hope which doesn't have enough substance to feed on. It disappears once again. He sees no change. There is none. He is gone.